Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 108 of the Runnin the Paint podcast. I'm Miles here with Nick and Joey. Guys, how are you doing today?
Feeling good, feeling great. Happy to be with you guys.
Good to be here. What's up, fellas? March 18th, 19th, and Cavs are still in first place, so that's good. Third week of March, and I know we're going to talk about some preseason questions that we had at the beginning of the year later on, but sitting here March 18th, didn't expect the Cavs to be 56-11.
No. Not at all. It's crazy, but you're right. That is going to be the bulk of the episode. We're actually going to look back on the 30, maybe not all 30, but the key questions that we made all together from the preseason. That should be a lot of fun since there's been a whole lot of unexpected things that have happened so far this season. But to start things off, like we always do, let's go to PERTL with this new overlay screen for the first time. Apparently, this is number 1,117 for players that they've had on PERTL.
Buy your lottery ticket.
Heck yeah. So let's get going. Joey or Nick, give us a player. Who should we start off with?
Ooh, who are we talking pre-pod lobby? Quentin Grimes, because he had a great couple times.
Quentin Grimes. He's been playing well for the Sixers.
Nothing.
Okay, well, we know where he's not.
We've been really off on our first guesses the last few episodes.
We battled through adversity.
We'll battle through it. We know this guy is like 25 or 26 years old and a big guy in the Western Conference that wears a higher jersey number. So automatically, I mean, we could go to a lot of players here. Let's see. I'm thinking, how old is our boy Zubats? He might be 27, 28.
Sounds right.
But
yeah, that's not a bad pick. I was going to say 27, 28 maybe.
Maybe.
This is a good answer.
Yeah, we could just try it. It'll get a lot of other things knocked out.
Yeah.
So he beats a Zubat.
There we
he's
go.
on the Clippers.
On the Clippers.
He's on the Clippers. All right.
Younger guy, lower number than 40.
And not a center.
And 25 or 26 years old, a wing player. We could totally get this in 3. All right. Who do we got on the Clippers roster? They've had a good season.
What about Terrence Mann? Or he's not there anymore.
Yeah, he's on the Hawks now. Yeah, there's been so much movement.
I'm trying to think of, like, it's been the same sort of age bracket, like, of 2017, 18 draft class.
Yeah, it's just they're wing players.
That's what I'm trying to think of. I'm like, I don't remember.
Like they're wing players, like they're older. Like they.
That's what I'm thinking.
What number does Derek Jones Jr. wear? Well, I think he's older.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, he's older, too.
Like, Derek Jones is older. Kawhi Leonard, obviously older.
They have a backup, Jordan Miller, for Miami, but he's not over 24.
He wouldn't be in that age range.
Yeah.
Like, Amir Coffey would fit, but he wears the number 7, so that would have been highlighted.
Ooh, yeah.
Coffey is a good guess.
Man, who is this an end of the bench? It's not no, it's not Norman Powell or Bogdan.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, Norman Powell's like closer to 32.
Dude, and then obviously Nick Batum's old.
I don't know who this is.
Who is this guy, man? Who is this guy? This has to be
James Harden.
James
Oh
Harden.
my gosh.
Man. This is actually kind of tough.
Yeah, I don't know. Can you show the silhouette?
Wait.
No Jackson.
I don't know if he'd be highlighted. I don't know how.
What?
Oh, no, he'd probably be listed as a guard. I was thinking Ben Simmons is on the Clippers.
I completely forgot about Ben Simmons.
I completely forgot as well, but he would.
I feel like it's either him or Coffey.
I think this might be Ben Simmons.
I was going to say, let's put Ben Simmons. I ain't going to guess.
Let's try Ben Simmons, man.
That would make sense because it really threw us off.
Ben Simmons. No. Dude,
Ben Simmons is already 28.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. I didn't think he was that old. Kick him out.
Try Amir Coffey.
Amir Coffey. But I know that won't be right, though, because he wears.
He's number 7?
Yeah, I know he's number 7. What other wing players on the?
I'm about to go to the roster at this point.
I was about to say, I have no idea
I'm
who's
stumped.
at, like the end of their bench.
This is actually really tough.
I even forgot they had Ben Simmons.
25, 26-year-old. I mean, I don't. Is it Derek Jones? No,
Derek Jones is like closer to 30.
Dude, what? We've actually gotten completely stumped.
I was like,
stumped.
who is on the Clippers?
This is absolutely unbelievable that we've actually gotten stumped.
First time for everything.
First time for everything. At this point,
you could try the silhouette.
Maybe it is No, it's not Bogdanovich. I don't even think the silhouette would help us. I mean, we know it's a Clipper player. Man. Maybe we do go Amir Coffee. Maybe this is unreal.
Oh, number 8. Jordan Miller might be older, dude. He might be a 4-year college guy.
Let's try Jordan Miller. At this point, we just gotta.
That was my initial after Zoo.
Bro, this is
25. He is 25.
He is 25. What other player?
I mean, Bones Highland is older, but he's not taller than 6.
He's not even there anymore. Like, this is.
Are we allowed to? Are we stumping up so like we can look up their roster?
This is crazy.
Because I have no idea who is. I didn't even know Jordan Miller was on that team. I'm like, I only know all the old guys.
This is one. Yeah.
All right.
This is.
Let's get a reveal.
I think we stump out. We can't even reveal. I think we're on the.
Just guess Kawhi Leonard, James Harden.
No, let me check their. If you want me to check the roster, it'll be cheating, but I can do that real quick.
This is terrible, man.
We failed already, but like it can't get much worse. We should at least try to.
All right, all right, let me see here. This might be. Let's see. This I didn't even know this did two-way guys. This might be a two-way guy.
They have Drew Eubanks. He's number 15.
They have Drew Eubanks. They have looking at their roster, Seth Lundy.
It's Kobe Brown. It's the other guy they got in that draft class from Missouri.
Kobe Brown.
I forgot about Kobe Brown. There's Jordan Miller and Kobe Brown.
Yeah, there it is.
Kobe Brown. Wow. All right. Next episode, we are going to need a big time bounce back from this. We got a Clipper player in 2. Oh, that's.
Couldn't think. That was bad. Sorry, Clipper fans.
Sorry,
Clipper fans. Sorry. I'll say that's pretty good. That's like our first actual, or maybe second actually failing that, where we actually had to look up the roster. But I think that's pretty good on us. So,
Missouri playing Drake in the tournament this weekend as a 6th seed. Texas Tech is their next round opponent if they win that. So.
Dang.
That's right. March Madness coming up. Definitely going to be a fun time. Early on, before we even get to the NBA stuff, what are your guys' early thoughts here?
Joey likes Florida.
I'm a big Gators fan. Let's go Gators. SEC champs. We're going to roll to the Final Four in the Natty.
The best quick synopsis I can give is like I really think that like your ability to handle adversity in the tournament is important, and I think coaching has a lot to do with that. So I kind of like pick the guys that have been there before, like Izzo at Michigan State. Pitino at St. John's is going to be really good. I have a lot of confidence in Shire and Duke. So
yeah. Shout out High Point also. First time ever making it, 13 seed. I have them upsetting Purdue in the first round. Down with the Big Ten.
Wow. It's going to be fun, man. Going to be fun getting started this week. Well, getting into the NBA news, we do have a decent bit to talk about before we get to looking back on on some of our preseason predictions. So first thing we got to talk about, the longest winning streak in the NBA got snapped over the weekend. The Orlando Magic went into Cleveland in a playoff rematch and defeated the Cavaliers 108-103 to end the Cavs' 16-game winning streak. All of us Cavs fans here, since Goglin is in here. First of all, I just have to say, honestly, I mean, it's been such a dream season, like Nick was talking about at the beginning. Losing just feels so awful. However, all these other fan bases.
How do you think DeAndre Hunter feels? He hasn't lost since like the New Year.
Yeah, it was his first loss. Shout out to Nick, another Nick walking by back there. But
DeAndre Hunter's like what? He's the greatest Cavalier ever, just from Virginia. Since we're just talking about college and now in Cleveland, he's only lost like what, a handful of times.
As a Cavalier, yeah.
Yeah, that was his first loss as a Cleveland Cavalier, which is
Right.
incredible to think. It just an incredible run that the Cavs have been on. It was the longest winning streak in franchise history. And Orlando played a very good defensive game, really pressured the Cavaliers. That'd be a very, I mean, I don't know if it'd be a long playoff series if we got into it. I think statistically, it's most likely that Orlando will end up as the 8th seed out of the play-in tournament and most likely face Cleveland in the first round. And Magic definitely have potential of pushing the Cavaliers in the first round, so that should definitely be fun. But with this game, despite the Cavs just playing great basketball, they'd won, I believe, 20 of their previous 21 games since January 25th. This is only their second loss in a month and a half span. You would think that with them playing that well, that they would have kind of blown things open with the best record in the NBA. That has not been the case because on the same day, that evening, the Oklahoma City Thunder defeated the Milwaukee Bucks in an impressive victory on the road. And they're just a half game behind the Cavaliers for the best overall record in the NBA, which is just incredible to think about. I mean, we've talked about it all season long, how special it has been that we've had 2 historic seasons happen in the same year.
I love the small markets. Shout out OKC and Cleveland, man. It's been, as a fan of Cleveland, like, it's been great to watch, but I bet the Thunder fans are just as giddy as we are.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like we kind of expected it from OKC after last year, and the Cavs have been getting better and better. But yeah, 2 great seasons. This game versus Orlando, though, I mean, 16 in a row. Like it was a Sunday morning sort of game, 1 o'clock on a Sunday in Cleveland. Not exactly the type of game you is easy to get up for, especially after you've won 16 in a row. And Orlando was coming in limping, so I mean, but give Orlando credit. I think they held. I just did it real quick. Donovan and Darius were 17 of 44. No Mobley in this one, which is obviously a big impact. And the Cavs only scored 20 points in the fourth quarter. Struggled to score against one of the better defenses in the league. But I don't know. 7-game series doesn't seem like it would be in the cards for these 2 teams. I think the Cavs could get out in 5 or 6 if that was a postseason matchup.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. It was cool to see that kind of playoff fire between these 2 teams with Paolo Banchero and Ty Jerome getting into it a little bit. That's a lot of fun to see.
So no, you can't guard me.
Ty Jerome,
you see the leaked clips?
I'll start on your team right now.
Yep.
Magic obviously playing without Jalen Suggs, but big time win for them and very impressive as they're trying to find some consistency in what has been a tough season due to injury. But looking ahead to the rest of the season, as I've said, I mean, we've got about a month left to go in the regular season, and the Thunder and Cavs obviously, potentially headed towards a collision course with the seasons that they've been having. But like I said, neck to neck in the standings right now for the best overall record in the league and for home court advantage throughout the playoffs. Looking ahead to the rest of their schedules, the Cavs have 15 games remaining, the Thunder 14. For Cleveland, they're about to start on a 5-game Western Conference road trip that starts tonight in LA against the Clippers. They've got 9 road games left and 6 home games to go, and 5 of those 9 road games are going to be covered on this trip the next couple of weeks. Meanwhile, the Thunder have 8 home games and 6 road games remaining here. So if you had to make a prediction, which team do you guys think will end up with the best overall record in the NBA once we get into the postseason, or is there an insane possibility that they end up with the same record?
I definitely think you're closer to possibly the same record. However, if you're just looking at it straight up, obviously you would think Oklahoma City's going to have the better record just because they got more home games. And we're going on a Western Conference road trip, which this season, just like many in the past, the Western Conference have better teams than the Eastern Conference. So it's always a little tougher.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Cavs probably have a more difficult uphill climb to secure the 1 seed just because it's been neck and neck all year. And I don't know, it has been neck and neck all year, and the Cavs have multiple double-digit winning streaks, but it has just felt like the Thunder were like a step ahead the whole way somehow for some reason. And with 15, 14 games remaining. Like Joey, you said, the Cavs still have to go out west, and the Thunder have more home games. So they would definitely, I think, have the edge.
Yeah, that would definitely make a lot of sense. Both of these teams, I mean, just they have the leeway to kind of figure out how they want to, do things the rest of the way because of the lead that they have in their individual conferences. But as far as head-to-head home court record throughout the playoffs, they definitely both teams just need to keep their foot on the gas. And Cleveland, I mean, we mentioned the 5-game road trip. They're on, I believe, a 10-11 game road winning streak still. They are the best road team in the NBA. So it's not so they can definitely win games away from their own barn, but obviously, you'd much prefer to be at home for all these games as well. So again, that's probably going to be one of the bigger races to watch as the rest of the season rolls along. And again, just incredible for both of these teams and fan bases that they're having this great of a season. I'm very excited to see, if this ends up being an NBA Finals matchup, which is obviously so much basketball still to be played, on how that'll be looked at, from a fan standpoint in the league, from a rating standpoint, from a social media standpoint, because obviously OKC and Cleveland, two small markets compared to, if we had a Lakers Celtics NBA Finals, but a Thunder Cavs Finals matchup would be the best basketball probably head-to-head that you could get in a head-to-head series, unless, you could say the same thing about the Celtics and the Thunder. So I'd just be curious about how that would work for the game if, it would do well.
I think it would, even though they are small markets, I think it would work out great because, like you said, it gives more validation, I guess, to the regular season. People might tune in more because these two teams were the best in the regular season and then in the playoffs, and then they played each other in the finals. That's why you watch the regular season, to see, hey, these guys have been consistent all year long. This is what they've worked hard for. This is kind of what they deserve. But again, playoffs, completely different animal. Never works out that way. So we shall see. But I certainly would love a Thunder Cavs finals.
Yeah, absolutely. Let us know in the comments your thoughts on the rest of the season. Who you think will end up with the best record in the NBA heading into the playoffs, or if it is a tie, because it feels like that could definitely end up happening as well, which would just be insane if both teams ended up with a 67-15 record. That'd be unheard of.
I was about to say, do you think either team makes it to 70 wins? Because obviously OKC can't lose a game the rest of the year if they want to, because they have 12 losses, right?
Yeah. So OKC's 56-12. The Cavs are 56-11. I mean, my take on it, I think both teams are going to go hard to try to win as many games as possible, as long as the number one overall record is still up for grabs. I think if it's already taken care of, then, if the Cavs end up, a few games ahead with a week to go in the regular season, OKC shouldn't be, going hard the rest of the regular season to get 68, 69 wins, because it's the playoffs that matter the most. I mean, we all know that the NBA record for most wins in a season is the 73-win Warriors, who didn't end up winning a championship. And yes, that did have to do with, injuries, the Draymond Green suspension. We all know, but there were even times throughout that playoff run where Steph Curry goes down with a knee injury, ankle injury, the Draymond Green suspension. Going hard in the regular season for an arbitrary amount of wins could end up hurting you, when it does matter most in the playoffs.
Agree with that. I hate it when a lot of Cavs fans are like, hey, I love how many wins we're getting. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, yeah, but I like that we've been resting a guy or two a night, because we definitely need I'll take all the rest. We already pretty much got that 1 seed locked up. A couple more wins would kind of just solidify it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been thinking. This Cavs 16-game winning streak has been great, but there have been a few games where they frankly should have lost the games, like the ones to Brooklyn, come to mind. The wins against Brooklyn come to mind. And in my mind, as the game's happening, it's it would suck if we lost the game. Just like the Orlando game, but I'm not tripping too hard about losses at this point, because again, the playoffs are what matter. Thunder should feel the same way. If you lose a game, it obviously hurts, because it doesn't feel good to lose it all, but there are bigger goals in mind. There are definitely bigger goals in mind.
Agreed.
Moving on here. I mean, we just talked about the Warriors and the 73 wins. Steve Kerr became the Warriors' most winning coach in franchise history this past Saturday when they defeated the New York Knicks on the Saturday primetime game with his 558th victory, passing who? You guys want to guess who did Steve Kerr pass for Warrior head coaching wins? I know Joey's like the historian here.
Oof, I am not well versed in head coaches a whole lot.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know it's a tough one. He passed Al Attles.
Al Attles,
former Warrior player and coach, I believe. From back in the day. So shout out to Steve Kerr, obviously the head man throughout this dynasty. I know there's always talk of, is Steve Kerr really that great of a coach?
Yes,
but great. I mean, look, great coaches have great players attached to them. That's what honestly makes them great coaches throughout NBA history. You know, Greg Popovich has had Tim Duncan throughout his time, Eric Spoelstra, Dwayne Wade, LeBron, Phil Jackson, Michael Jordan. You go through every Hall of Fame coach, they're attached to Hall of Fame players. So Steve Kerr, definitely one of the best coaches of our generation. Crazy that he just got that he has been the Warriors coach now. This is his 11th season. And the Warriors, one of the hottest, it might be the hottest team in the NBA now after the Cavs winning streak got snapped, and looking like they could be a sneaky contending playoff team with the veteran leadership that they have. So shout out to Steve Kerr for still coaching really hard.
Do you guys know who the well, obviously it's kind of a trick, who the active leading coaching wins leader is, if you're not counting Greg Popovich because he's not technically active. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be Spoelstra?
Spoelstra's second, or third.
Oh, it's third. Second in coach. All right, let me pull up these teams.
Is Malone the Nuggets coach up there?
Nope.
No.
Not Malone.
Oh, Doc Rivers.
Oh, Doc, yeah.
Doc Rivers, because he's been coaching for so long. I mean,
Doc has more than double the amount of wins Steve Kerr has.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, you think he's been coaching for what, 20 more years?
Yeah.
Steve Kerr. Maybe not 20 more years, but like 15 more years back when his Orlando days. I mean, look, as much, flack that Doc Rivers may get, and he's had a pretty good coaching year with the Milwaukee Bucks a little bit this season, but he's had a very good, coaching career. He's adapted very well. A lot of people trash on him now, but I've
always liked him. Even when the Cavs, were rivals with Paul Pierce and KG, I was like, Doc's solid.
I was going to say, Doc's always been a good coach.
Yeah, and again, being able to just adapt to so many different eras of basketball. I mean, it's crazy, the different teams that he's coached, the star power.
Just the management of egos on that Celtics team with Rondo, KG, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen, Kendrick Perkins, like Glenn Davis, like just managing all those guys in a locker room. Like, you should get the Nobel Peace Prize for that.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. So, but shout out to Steve Kerr for continuing to, coach really hard, and again, Warriors' most winning coach in franchise history, which just seems right. Right for that Warrior dynasty. Some more sad news that we got today, that the Philadelphia 76ers announced that Paul George is officially going to be done for the season after receiving injections in his left adductor muscle and left knee, expected to be out at least 6 weeks. I mean, it obviously sad news. It's been a rough year there in Philadelphia, but definitely good at the same time to kind of get everyone healthy for next season.
Shut him down. That's the right call. The Sixers aren't really playing for anything anymore. You already shut Embiid down. Your team just isn't playing right. Like, just get a good draft pick and then come back healthy next year, revamped and reloaded and ready to make a push. That's really all they can do now.
Yeah, really.
With the Sixers being a better spot, they still had Tobias Harris instead of Paul George. I mean, I saw a graphic, they had the same season statistically this year.
Yeah. I don't think so.
I saw something on the Hoop Collective. They said that 95% of the 76ers payroll is on the injury report or inactive for tonight's game, and they're playing guys like who'd you mention?
Number 65.
Yes, Alex Reese, number 65.
I mean,
yeah, I'll give you their starting lineup today. They're playing in Houston, and they're about to go to overtime. They were up by like 20 at halftime. Rockets came back. Starting lineup: Jared Butler, Quentin Grimes, who we guess for PERTL, who's been ridiculous. He currently has 40 points again.
Dang.
It's unbelievable. He's got 40 points and 12 rebounds. Ricky Council the fourth. Justin Edwards, O'Shea Brissett, who they just signed 2 days ago. Off the bench playing Jeff Doughton Jr., Jalen Hood-Schifino, Chuma Okeke, and number 65, Alex Reese. So obviously mailing it in as they should. I mean, taking a look at the standings.
So might as well sign Angel Reese at this point. Like,
yeah, I guess so. but I mean, obviously makes sense when looking at the standing sort of thing. The Sixers obviously on the right side, on the outside, looking in, just trying to play for ping pong balls in the lottery. You see that? I mean, they're 23-44, one of the worst records in the league, and I thought one of the hardest schedules. I think they have one of the harder schedules remaining in the Eastern Conference. Obviously, can mail it in at this point, and they need to keep losing because, as we've talked about before, their first round pick is top 6 protected, and if it doesn't go to them, it goes to the Thunder. So they need to just get a top 6 pick, and they're going to be in the lottery, so they'll obviously have a shot to get into the sweepstakes there.
Could you imagine this Thunder team with a top 10 lottery or a top 10 pick if they get like 7, 8, or 9?
Ridiculous what the Thunder do, dude.
Do we have any preseason questions that were relevant to the Sixers?
Yes, we do. We'll get to those later.
Because we're going from one dumpster fire here in Philly, I think, to another.
Yes, we are. We've got to talk about the Dallas Mavericks, man. Unbelievable. Last time we really talked about them in depth was a couple episodes ago when us three were doing our quarter 3 tier list, and I was saying, man, we recorded the night that Kyrie Irving tore his ACL. And I was like, man, I like the team if healthy, but karma is not going to allow this team to do anything. And it has somehow gotten even worse. So much to the point that they may be forced to forfeit games due to the NBA's salary cap and roster rules. Absolutely incredible. Here's a look at their roster. All the players that have the asterisk are all injured. It's absolutely incredible what is happening in a bad way, obviously.
I don't think they'll actually end up getting to that point. If they get down to 7, which is what they're at right now, and the whole thing is like they're out of 10-day, or like the date for 10 days has passed. Like we're past the point in the season where you can go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So here's the deal. So the big date to watch is a week from today as we're recording, Monday, March 24th, when they play the Brooklyn Nets, because at that point, like you said, Nick, they only have 7, 8 eligible
healthy guys,
players that can play. I think they're still at 8 active players because they've still been able to play games. The minimum is that you need 8 active players to play, in an NBA game. And 2 of them are on 2-way contracts in Brandon Williams and Kessler Edwards. And Kessler Edwards only has like 3 games remaining on his eligibility. So once that's over, as Nick already said, the deadline to sign 2-way contracts was March 4th. So you can't just replace the guys on the contracts. So this may be a situation where they may have to dress and activate some injured players in order to play. And then you get into the scenario like lying on the injury report and forcing injured players to be able to play. It is just a mess. It is unreal. You
would activate a guy or 2 who is injured and then play with 6 or 7 or 5 or 4, but forfeiting and National Basketball Association, I don't like that's too much money. I don't see that happening.
I know everybody, and y'all specifically, were very high on the trade that happened. That
this has nothing to do with
has
that.
Brought this upon
this has nothing
this Dallas
to do with
Mavericks
that.
franchise. There are people out there I have seen, and I saw who PJ Washington was at his presser defending Nico Harrison.
I'll defend him right now.
I'm sorry. If you actually are talking about forfeiting games after trading away Luka Doncic, and I know he's not the end-all be-all, but where was Quentin Grimes 2 months ago?
Right. Yeah.
Where was Quentin Grimes? Where was Luka Doncic?
Look, that's the thing. Like, it's easy to say now with everything that's happened. I mean, you could say this all could have happened even if Luka was still on the roster. I mean,
it could have been.
Karma is just
all of these things, like you said, it's karma. At some point, you got to give them what they want. Fire Nico Harrison.
The problem that Nico ran into was that he, I think, lacked foresight in I think his intention was right, and the foresight that would have led to them winning. I think he took into account what could have went wrong as well, but it was the problem is he didn't hedge any of his bets, and they all were gambles, and that none of them hit.
They all backfired.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's the thing. I mean, I agree with Nick. Would I have made the trade? No, I would never have made the trade. But I understood the philosophy. Because, again, like we saw in the 3 quarters that we saw, it looked amazing. It looked amazing with all the bigs there and being able to defend with Kyrie as the primary ball handler. But, I mean, I think that would have been good if you didn't trade Luka Doncic to make that happen. And now it's costing them. I mean, it's costing them. The basketball gods are – I'm convinced that is what is happening. I'm
with you on that one. That's why I'm like, you just got to give them what they want. Like, at any point, if you fumble anything so bad where you literally can't put a team of 8 healthy guys out there because and you said they can't do it because of salary cap options too. He's the GM. He's the one kind of making these contracts too. A lot of the things he has done has all culminated to this point.
But he's also had the cosign of the owner.
Well, yeah.
Again, but the owner ain't gonna sell the team anymore. Not after this. No one's gonna buy it.
But I'm saying if he goes and fires Nico, it's
goal. That might have been the goal with this whole thing. You never know what could be going on with all this.
Oh, conspiracies. I like that. This is a whole conspiracy to sell the Dallas Mavericks for cheap.
It might be, but no, I mean, Nico Harrison isn't the reason that all these players got injured and now they're about to potentially have to forfeit games.
But if you can't put a team together out there of 8 healthy guys,
it
falls on you. It falls on you because you don't have any two-way contracts. You can't sign anybody else. You don't have any backups. You have nothing.
Well, he can't help that everyone got hurt.
Could have.
He can't help that everyone got hurt. He traded an injured player at the time, Luka, for an injured player.
Everybody got hurt after he traded.
Yeah, everyone got hurt after the trade.
Basketball gods have spoken, like you
Right,
said.
the basketball gods have spoken, but
he is bad news.
I'm just saying Nico Harrison isn't the reason that all of his players got actually injured. Kyrie,
Oh, duh.
I mean,
he's not out there taking a tire iron to Kyrie's knees.
I know. It's just been a nightmare, and I don't even know what could happen with this team going forward. They're still gonna fight. I mean, that's the thing with them being in the play-in picture still. Looking at the records here. Unless the Phoenix Suns can randomly take it together, get it together here. I mean, if Dallas does get, Anthony Davis back healthy because they literally have to force him to play. I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll make the playoffs. I mean, you don't know. It's just been a nightmare season, and I feel terrible for Dallas Maverick fans. I mean, I can't imagine what it could have been like.
I have to give Dallas extra treats just because of the torture of being associated with the Dallas Mavericks because of this podcast.
Shout out to Dallas, man. We love you, Dallas.
We love you, Dallas.
I mean, it's crazy. We were talking about it in the pre-pod lobby how a year ago to the day, actually of this release. Yeah, we have the Kyrie Irving left-hand game winner, and we had a game winners draft. That was already a year ago, and so many things have changed. Like it's absolutely unbelievable. And I'm sure the Dallas Mavericks may have been the answer to some of our preseason questions that we had before the season.
Oh gosh, I can't wait to go through this.
So let's get into some of these. Let's get into some of these now. So we won't go through all 30 of these questions, but we'll go over, through some of them that are prominent to this season. So I guess the first one that we'll start with was who we all thought would make their first All-Star game this season. All of us obviously said, Victor Wembanyama. That was an easy one, obviously before the injury. I mean, Wemby was clear that he was going to make his first All-Star game. Joey and I both said Evan Mobley, and we got that right. We both got that right. And then we had Jackson and Nick both gave some good predictions. They were pretty good in theory here, but obviously didn't end up working well. Jackson, Nick, what did you?
I'm trying to remember who I would have said.
So Jackson said Jalen Suggs because that was part of his Orlando Magic being, really high in the standings, and he had a really good year. But
did I have a second-year guy?
No, you had a guy that was traded to a new team.
Okay.
Do you want to guess your player? He's been playing really great over the last month. Josh Giddey.
Oh,
you said Josh Giddey?
Well, yeah, I mean, it made sense. I thought he was going to be a triple-double machine this year.
And he has been recently.
But then Zach LaVine, and he had a reincarnation.
I mean, on the season at this point, he's averaging 14, 8, and 7. He's having a good year. Obviously not an all-star type year, but it's picked up since they made, the trade.
I honestly thought his scoring output would obviously be more. But, yeah, I didn't expect LaVine to be he averaged almost 30 in Chicago this year.
Yeah, LaVine played excellent. That's part of another future thing that we had. But shout out to the Bulls and Josh Giddey. I got to give the Bulls a little bit of credit here. They're kind of forced into that final play-in spot. So they're like, all right, we'll start to win some games. They've actually been winning a lot the last few weeks. And Josh Giddey over his last 9 games is averaging 23, 11, and 8.
That's all-star,
Those
baby.
are all-star
That
numbers.
is what he was talking about, man.
Nick, I see the vision.
What's Jalen Suggs been doing over the last month? Sitting on the bench.
He's been hurt. He's been hurt. But what did he end up? I mean, before he got injured, what did he end up averaging?
He would have been an all-defensive team if he didn't get hurt.
Just not all-star.
Maybe not all-star, but all-defensive team for sure.
No, I'm just saying, 35 games, he's averaged 16, 4, and 4. So, I mean, good numbers.
Ty Jerome.
Yeah. All right, next question we could go to here was, which team is under the most pressure? Now, none of these are obviously changed to this point. So Joey and Nick, you guys both guessed this, or both said the same team. Do you guys want to guess which team you said? Denver Nuggets.
Oh, yeah.
You guys both guessed the Denver Nuggets, who are having a good year, are going to have a chance, to do some special things in the playoffs.
I would say that they overachieved from when I said that from now. I didn't expect them to be a top 3 seed.
I tend to agree with him. I thought they would have really struggled, and Jokic honestly, I kind of saw Jokic maybe to slow down just because he doesn't have the help anymore. But they've been playing great.
Yeah, they've been playing great recently, and I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, we're not even really getting to this Western Conference craziness where 2, 3, and 4 all have the same record.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, we'll see.
Well, it'll change in a day.
Yeah. Oh, yes. It'll. That's probably going to be changed from what it actually ends up being there tomorrow. But my team that I had is the Phoenix Suns, which is true. I mean, and now that they've been one of the biggest failures of the league this season, and we'll see what happens in the offseason. In a future episode, we will have a full episode where we preview every lottery team's offseason before we go a few months without having to talk about any of those bad teams. I can't believe that we are going to talk about the Phoenix Suns in that video and about a potential Kevin Durant trade, because that's probably what we'll talk about.
In terms of that question and teams under the most pressure, like Denver Nuggets are one example of a team that exceeded expectations and went really well and handled the pressure. And then obviously Phoenix did not handle the pressure.
Denver, pressure makes diamonds. The Suns, they crumbled under the pressure.
Suns melted.
And then even the same thing, Jackson with the Milwaukee Bucks picking them as well. They'll have a decent shot as well to maybe do something in the playoffs.
They didn't handle the pressure in the beginning of the year.
No, they definitely.
No, they did not. But they also had a brutal schedule looking back on it.
They handled the pressure of being 2-12 though.
They did, and now they've bounced back. They've been pretty solid.
They traded for Kuzma. That's what happened.
Yeah, they traded for Kuzma, and that's made them a little bit better.
Top-notch analysis from Joey.
Heck yeah.
Thank you.
Let's see. Our rookie of the years, we could quickly go through this. Nick had Bub Carrington, Joey had Zach Edey, and Jackson and I both had Alex Sarr. All three of them having pretty decent years.
Steph Castle.
Most likely will be Stephon Castle, though. That's probably the favorite at this point.
If only Jared McCain didn't get hurt, he probably would have ran away.
He probably would have been the runaway, especially now that everyone else is hurt. He would have been able to inflate his stats like Quentin Grimes is doing right now.
Yeah.
True.
Oh, yeah. He would have had a full day in Philly right now.
Yeah. And speaking of Philly, we're now here with best off-season move. Where Nick had Paul George to the Sixers.
Obviously, yeah.
Which was obviously at the time, and we do have to say all these we made, right before the, months before the month before the season. And obviously all these are going to make sense. I mean, Nick with Paul George to Philadelphia, we thought the Sixers could do so. I mean, obviously not have this type of year where everyone was injured. The rest
they'd be a top three. I thought they would be a top 3 or 4 seed.
I thought they would. I thought they would too. Or maybe I thought it would take another year. I don't exactly remember.
Well, I always had the Cavs out. I had Cavs probably 5.
True.
And then I had Knicks and Philly up there with like Boston and Milwaukee.
Yeah, it was something like that. I could probably go back and look before we finish up. But the rest of us all had some sort of combination of Hartenstein to the Thunder and Towns to New York. Obvious reasons there. Worst offseason move. Jackson and I both had the Wizards trading Denny Avdia. And he's been playing great for the Blazers. But I will say with Washington, and we touched on it with a couple of their rookies. I mean, they drafted 3 players in the first round last year, and all of them look pretty good, down the line. They should have a pretty decent team in the next few years.
But I'm with you. Denny Avdia, man. He's been playing great with Portland. He is a perfect piece for them.
He has, dude, I'm so excited for Portland basketball next year. I love the Blazers. Let's see here. I had the Denny Avdia thing. I also had the Clippers not trading Paul George to Golden State and getting assets back. Nick also had something like that. Clippers losing Paul George. Also had Denver losing Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, because that was a question, was the depth that they would have. And I mean, the fact that Russell Westbrook has given them what he's done this year, and the Christian Brown improvement has helped them a lot with the season that they've had. And then Joey had the Timberwolves trading for Julius Randle. Which
as the worst one?
Yeah, worst offseason move.
Well, they haven't had the greatest season. However, for the last month and a half, ever since Julius Randle's been playing, they've been kind of balling.
Yeah, what's the stat on it? He's won his last 12 or 13 games.
Yeah, no, he's kind of been balling. So them as a whole have downgraded from last year, but when he is out there, they do end up winning. So on my part.
I mean, if they can, right now they're sitting at 40-29. They might beat the Pacers. They're in a tough battle in overtime right now.
I like the Wolves right now.
They've been playing.
I like the Wolves right now too. Last season, they won 56 games last year. They were incredible.
Yeah, it's hard.
AE, a year older. I don't know if he's more mature or not, but he's got more experience. So he'll be more ready for the moment, I think.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. All right, now this one is a dandy. Coach of the year. All 0 for 4 for across the board.
Please tell me they said Mike Brown.
No. So Jackson and Nick both picked Jamal Mosley from the Magic, which all these I think were okay in theory. Maybe mine was a little off.
Mine did not work out.
Well, the Magic got hit hard by
they got hit hard by
this year. It's honestly, it's kind of a miracle they're lucky the East is so bad that they're still in the play-in.
Yeah, I mean they're they're a bunch of games below 500 and are still probably going to make the playoffs. So very true.
Yeah.
Joey had Quinn Snyder from Atlanta. Joey had them at 4th, and they were looking pretty good before the Jalen Johnson injury.
You guys give so much love to the Hawks. I will never understand why you guys use this like tone and attitude when speaking about Atlanta that I just have no reciprocation for.
It's funny because I think I was high on the Hawks before last year. This year I was done, and then Joey did them.
No, I definitely thought as soon as DeJounte was gone, they were going to be fine. But then, like you said, they were playing well. Again, 4 was obviously a little too high, but they could have gotten to probably 5 or 6.
They could have.
Jalen Johnson didn't get hurt, but again, they definitely weren't going to get to 4.
Well, shout out to the Detroit Pistons. I could have seen the Hawks having a Pistons-like season,
Yeah.
I think that's totally fair. And the Pistons are right around 4 or 5. They could have made it. Hawks might be a sneaky team that I'm excited for next year, though. I will say.
Oh, no.
Because, look, if you think about it on paper when healthy, this is like the perfect team to have around Trae Young because it's all defensive players that can shoot the ball, which is not what they had.
Oh, really? They didn't just trade DeAndre Hunter?
Dyson Daniels is
because they needed
up
to
there
pick
with Evan Mobley as Defensive Player of the Year front runners.
We're not talking about the Hawks 46 minutes in the episode right now.
Fair. My Coach of the Year pick was Charles Lee from the Hornets. I thought the Hornets were going to have a pretty good year. They were a team that I think everyone across the league was a little bit high on to maybe do some things. Didn't happen this year. We'll see if they end up making changes going forward.
Definitely thought they would be competitive, like maybe for a play-in, like where the Bulls are. Like maybe they'll be at the bottom.
Yeah, dude,
like under 500, but like
they should have got 30 wins.
Experience.
Yeah, they should have got. Yeah, they definitely should have been around that mark. Next question we had the biggest name traded this season. Obviously, none of us were going to pick Luka Doncic or De'Aaron Fox. Or
Anthony
Jimmy Butler.
Davis.
Let's see. I was the only one that picked someone that actually got traded. I had Zach LaVine who got traded. Joey had Jordan Poole from the Wizards. It was Kuzma that got traded instead.
It was one. I knew it was going to be a Wizard.
a Wizard and ended up being Kuzma. Nick had Miles Turner from the Pacers. And Jackson actually picked James Harden, who was able to put together an all-star season. Toughest team to predict. I had the Clippers, who have, obviously surpassed expectations, but they were, tough to predict a little bit.
Absolutely.
Jackson had the Sacramento Kings, which has been true. They've definitely been on and off this
Can I
season.
guess who I had?
Yeah, guess who you had?
Golden State?
Yes, Golden State Warriors. And Joey had the Cavs, which I think was fair at the beginning of the year. There was a lot of leeway we all had with
We had no idea they could have been the exact same from last year, but with a new coach, and we would have been in a bad problem where we would be in like 3rd or 4th, like Milwaukee right now. But instead, we're the best team in the league.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought that the ceiling was 3rd for the Cavs for sure.
I think I remember us having a conversation like where we were doing like our preseason standings, and I said the Cavs possibly could get to 50 wins, but I don't think so. And we had that conversation. If we think the Cavs could get to 50 wins.
Yeah, I'm like, I think this is a 50-win team because they were basically a 50-win team dealing with injury last year, and they picked up 50 wins in like the beginning of March. So that's obviously no one was expecting a historic season that they've been able to have.
Yeah.
Next award question we had most improved player. Jackson, Nick, and Joey all had Jalen Johnson, who was in line to probably get it before injury. I had Jonathan Kuminga / Evan Mobley. Not sure who. We'll obviously have our awards show by the end of the season. It's probably Norman Powell.
Could be Ty Jerome.
It's either Norman Powell, Ty Jerome. Oh, there was one other name I heard about.
I know Cade Cunningham is probably going to be one of the.
Cade Cunningham, that was the name. But I don't like that because he went from a 20-point scorer to a 26-point scorer. The only big difference is that he's a better leader because of JB and everything.
You did. I think I think it was a fair thing too. I mean, I personally would have hated it. I would not like it if it went to him because it's like, yeah, number 1 pick gets better on a winning team. But Nick made the point that over the last few years, they have given it to star or young players making a star jump, including like Ja Morant.
I think the better point for Cade to win it is the fact that he's the main guy on like the Detroit playoff team.
Yeah, that is very, very
That's
fair.
the thing. A lot of since he is the number 1 option, because of the team's success going from a lottery team to a certified playoff spot. Yeah, you're right. They might definitely just put a lot of that on him.
But the question is, with that point, is that more so? Should that be recognized within?
He's the main guy on a playoff team. That's my case.
Right. Well, yeah, absolutely. I'm saying, should that be recognized as most improved player or as an all NBA team spot? Because most improved player, I mean, a guy like Norman Powell jumping up 10 points per game and becoming the number 1 scoring option is most improved player more so than Cade Cunningham getting shooters and a better head coach around him. Which I
Norman
think
Powell getting increased usage and more shots, and he's averaged 20 points per game in previous years.
Not 20, like 4 points per game or whatever.
He's averaged over 20.
Has he?
Yeah.
He might have won. Let's see. What is his career high in points per game? 19. So about 20 points per game.
Ooh.
That's one of those weird arcs. 19 to 17 to 14 up to nearly 24 a game. I mean, that's the thing. Jumping up 10 per.
Yeah.
In just 5 more minutes per game.
I honestly, I think I like it better for Cade over Norm. That's just me though. Give it to Ty Jerome, man.
I'd rather give it to Ty Jerome.
He had a 6-man case.
I just think that the fact, I mean, he was injured and only was able to play 2 games. I wonder if that would like hurt him.
That's much improved over last year.
I mean, I think that would help his case.
I agree. If you were injured all of last year, then
he was out of the league.
Yeah.
No, he was never out of the league.
I know, but like if you watch the story, he got cut, and the Cavs took a chance on him, and then he was out the whole year.
For sure. Yeah, I think that there could be a decent case. I think there are just better cases throughout the league. Like we haven't even mentioned Dyson Daniels becoming like a legit defensive player of the year candidate, which we would get to later.
He's more in line with that, I think. Like I think Ty Jerome's probably more in line with the 6th man of the year along with DeAndre Hunter. And then Norman Powell will get most improved.
For me, okay, I know we're talking about this a lot now, but Dyson Daniels, for that specifically, it just feels like he's finally getting more recognition. Not necessarily like maybe he's vastly improved. I mean, I'm sure he's improved, but he's been a defender since he probably got in the league, and I really think that Cade has become a certified superstar on a playoff team that had less than a dozen wins last year. That's, I think, the strongest case.
I guess my thing against that is just I don't know if that's
what the award is for.
I don't know if it's an improvement. Yeah, I don't know if that's what the award's for.
Right.
Because I don't know how much of that was actual improvement from his part, or if that was just that he got better teammates. Because when you look at the numbers, they're honestly basically the same besides assists, which is increased because he has better teammates. Yeah. So we don't know. We don't know if he could have been this good last year. He just didn't have a good team. Yeah, that's where I think it's close because I think you could make a case for so many different players, which is what's going to make it a lot of fun. But that's
for a little. I hope you guys enjoyed our little preview of our award show coming up in the next couple weeks.
Player. Which team will take the biggest step back this season? Jackson and Joey both had the Clippers. I had the Indiana Pacers, which was looking good to start, but they've been playing really well as of late. They're about to be in the same spot, standings-wise. And then Nick had the Brooklyn Nets, the GFF, but maybe not anymore. We'll see. I was talking with Jackson. We may need to be awarding a new GFF. That might be part of the award show, is giving a new that recognition for this season.
See, the thing is with the GFF, it's decades of just wrong choices and moves. Like, if we look at it in a couple of years and the Mavericks are in the same situation of possibly forfeiting games, we can call the Mavericks the GFF.
That's what I mean. There are a lot of cases this year. It could be the Mavericks. It could be the Bulls because of how poorly they handled trading away their star players.
This is systemic garbage fire franchise.
Yeah.
GFF of the year, though, I like it.
It's an exclusive club.
I think we've got to do it. We could. That'd even be a funny thing. We go back in previous years and retro.
GFF of the year is a good one.
That's GFF of the year is a great.
Yeah, let us know other custom awards that you want us to give out by the end of the year. We got to come up with some other ones. Moving along here, under the radar team to watch. Me, Jackson, and Nick all had the Houston Rockets.
Bang!
You guys all nailed it.
Yeah, and in some case, multiple teams. Joey, Jackson, and I also had the Charlotte Hornets, like I talked about before. And then I had the Blazers because I like their potential.
We love the Blazers.
Pretty well.
I want to make it very clear that I would never stick my neck out for the Blazers, the Hawks, or the Hornets.
Why not the Blazers, dude?
You guys are nuts.
I did not hear Sacramento on that list, so I'm cool.
He's safe. All right. League's biggest villain. Joey.
Luka.
Yes, Nick and I both had Luka.
That's it, Dylan Brooks.
Yes, Joey and Jackson both had Dylan Brooks. Jackson also had Draymond Green.
Luka's not there anymore. I mean, they got rid of that. He got so much sympathy for getting wronged by Dallas that he's not a villain anymore.
I think he still would have been a villain if he was still on Dallas. But now that he's not, he's about to be the most angry player against, the Dallas Mavericks.
Who's the most hated in the league right now? I mean, that's a difficult.
Probably Nico Harrison.
Yeah.
He's probably the most hated person in the league. Player-wise.
I think Russ has kind of merged into that a little bit.
I think people kind of respect him more now for how he's playing, at this stage of his career. It might be a guy like Tatum or Shea because of the foul, whatever
villain we're talking about.
Dating conversation.
Is Isaiah Stewart getting in that mix? Because
Isaiah Stewart.
He's an up-and-coming bully with that.
I'd like to see him make a scene in the playoffs. Maybe he can get some villain status, some villain aura.
That's what I'm looking for.
I've seen there are a lot more people that hate on Tyrese Halliburton than I remember from last year, which is a little strange. That's a tough question, though. I don't even know who would be in that conversation.
It was tough before. That's why we had Luka, and now it's there's nobody. I mean, the other guy I could even start to think of just because I hate watching him play sometimes is Cat.
That's funny. Most overrated player we had going into the season. Nick had Cam Thomas. Jackson had Julius Randle. Joey had George Niang. Who, hey, shout out to the Hawks, man. George Niang.
Shout out to the Hawks.
Dude, George Niang is averaging 14 points per game for the Atlanta Hawks. He's honestly been playing.
Shout out, I hate you, G-Wagon, just because I am you.
That's right. And then mine was Jimmy Butler, which, for a long time with the whole Heat, it was because of just the whole drama thing, and that ended up, playing out.
You were looking right, and then he went to the Warriors, and now they've been balling.
Well, yeah, I think it was because of that whole thing. But sixth man of the year, I had Bobby Portis. Had a good year, but then a coach screwed up and gave him the wrong pain med. and now he's suspended. Jackson had Bradley Beal, which was one of my hot takes before the year. They did bring him off the bench. Didn't end up making anything better. Nick had Dante DiVincenzo, who's had an up and down season, and Joey had Malik Monk, who is now the starter that De'Aaron Fox has been traded.
Yep.
Which players under the most pressure? Jackson and Nick both had Jimmy Butler. I had Joel Embiid.
Well,
and Joey had Jalen Brunson. Which is interesting.
That is interesting.
Who will win the Emirates NBA Cup?
I don't even remember who won it.
I'll be honest, I do not remember who won it.
Isn't it
The
funny
Thunder.
how like it's such a big talking point at the beginning of the year, but now it's not. But I guess that's the whole point of it, and it works. It gives meaningful games at the beginning of the year. The Bucks ended up winning it over the Thunder, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
I picked the Sixers. Jackson picked the Mavs. Nick had the Wolves. Joey had the Suns. Ended up being the Milwaukee Bucks.
I forgot Darvin Ham is 2-0 in the NBA
That's right.
Cup.
Who will lead the league in scoring? Jackson had Shea, which is going to be correct, and the rest of us had Luka, which is crazy. He led the league in scoring last year, so that ended up making sense. Who is the best duo in the league? Joey had LeBron and Anthony Davis.
I know mine.
Done now. Nick had the Jays from Boston. Jackson had Devin Booker or Kevin Durant. I had Damian Lillard and Giannis. Who is the best duo in the league right now? Is it any of those guys that we mentioned? Nick, do you think it is the Brown and Tatum from Boston?
Gotta beat the champs to be the king. Yeah. They're wearing the crown right now.
I'll be honest, yeah, he might be right. Like, I don't really know. Like, maybe Shea and J-Dub.
Who do you want to run into in the play? Who do you not want to see when the ball goes up for the tip?
If you see, that's the thing. If you go against Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, man, and they're both going off, you're having a tough game.
Well, that's also because you're playing the Boston Celtics team.
But those guys are
best duo of two. Brown and Tatum is probably.
Damon, Giannis can each go for 40, but so can those two.
Yeah, I would probably still go Dame and Giannis as far as two sums, but can't be mad at all with.
What about Luka and LeBron?
Yeah, Luka and LeBron's definitely up there. I mean, statistically, if you go by like which duo is averaging more, it is Booker and Durant, which is crazy.
Wow.
I mean, both of those two, I guess mainly Durant. Durant has still had an incredible year. This late into his career. But yeah, we'll see come playoff time. Maybe this time next season, if there's a crazy playoff run, we're talking about Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler. Like, it always ends up being like whichever. Like Nick had this season, and probably a lot of us had the previous year. We had at this time last year, Jamal Murray and Jokic was probably the best duo because they won it the previous year. So it'll probably be whichever duo wins the finals. Let's see. Last two here that we'll go over our MVP prediction. None of us had Jokic. Who, probably because of voter fatigue or whatever. And that's one of the things like Nick and I talked about in the previous pod that may cost him this year, but certainly deserving of, an MVP award. But none of us picked him. Joey picked Anthony Edwards. Jackson picked Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, which may be the MVP winner. Obviously, him and Jokic are the two favorites. And Nick and I had Luka Doncic. We thought this would be the year that Luka would win MVP, and instead he got traded. That is unbelievable that our MVP got traded. It still is crazy to think.
This has been one of the craziest NBA seasons.
Yeah, and then our final question was NBA Finals predictions, which we still have 3 months to go to really figure that one out. All of us had the Thunder versus Celtics as being the NBA Finals preview. Joey and I both have the Thunder beating the Celtics. Nick had the Celtics beating the Thunder. And Jackson, going with his bold takes. The one he ended up going with was the New York Knicks versus the Phoenix Suns.
Jackson, you're a genius.
Heck yeah. At this point, obviously, we might do it again before, we finish up our actual playoff prediction video. But do you guys still think that we're headed towards a Celtics Thunder finals? Or are you thinking that we may be in for something different?
Again, hoping for Thunder Cavs, or honestly, even Lakers Cavs, because the storyline of LeBron playing Cleveland would just. The script writers for the NBA are top notch, so I wouldn't put it past them. But
I'd probably wear this jersey for 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Ultimately, if Thunder Celtics happen, though, I would not be shocked because the Celtics, like Nick said about the duo, they're the champs until proven otherwise.
I think Thunder Celtics would be like the most competitive series, but like Lakers Cavs would be everything I would ever dream of.
Yeah, it would definitely be unbelievable. I'd probably still go with a Thunder Celtics finals if I had to give a prediction. I still think that the Cavaliers are 1 year away. I've been saying throughout this entire rebuild that it has been just a slow progression of advancing one series further each year. So I think that a conference final is obviously that step, and then a finals would maybe be next year. But I'd obviously would love to see our Cavs in the NBA finals. I hope that's what would end up happening. But either way, I just hope that whatever matchup we get a good NBA finals because we haven't had it in years.
I just pray that everybody is healthy this year.
Yeah.
For every team. Knicks got injured, Cavs got injured, Celtics were injured with KP. Like, if we see Celtics Thunder, I want to see KP versus Chet going at it.
Yeah, you want to see everyone healthy, and we know that's probably way too much to ask because there's always going to be some sort of injury.
Yeah.
Just hope that it doesn't hamper a potential legendary postseason that it feels like we're going to get. I'm so excited for the postseason, but obviously still a month to go and still a lot of things to cover beforehand. But always fun to go back and take a look at our predictions back from October, September, and see the ones that we've gotten right so far, the ones that we were dead on wrong. No matter what, it's always it's so much fun. It's so much fun.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, that's it for the Running the Paint podcast. You guys got anything else before we get out of here?
I was trying to see if Alex Reese got his first NBA win. Fortunately, they did not. The Rockets beat the Sixers in overtime, 144-137. Alex Reese, 6 points, 2 for 4 from downtown, +8 on the night. Maybe you should have played him in overtime a little bit, huh?
Dude, Quentin Grimes with 46 points and 13 rebounds per game. In this one game. 8 threes, dude.
Right. My birthday's coming up in a couple of months. I want a number 65 Alex Reese jersey.
Hell yeah.
We'll get you that jersey, and we'll get Jackson the number 58 Rockets jersey. Jack McVay. Man, we're just having a crazy night in the league before we get out of here. The Denver Nuggets are playing without Jokic and Jamal Murray, and they're up by 12 at halftime against the healthy Warriors on the road.
Jeez.
Westbrook with 11 assists at halftime. Aaron Gordon with 20 points. So
Phoenix up 23 on Toronto at the half.
What is
Oh my gosh.
League is going crazy tonight. Can't wait to be back covering it for you guys. If you enjoyed the
They'll
video,
probably lose that game too.
Yeah, they might lose that game too. If you enjoyed this podcast, leave a like, subscribe for more NBA content. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Peace.